But you guys talk about, the trust factor that he has to have in those situations.
Yeah, it's definitely important, of course, just to have that trust from your quarterback in general. But yeah, we make sure we catch the ball, make sure we make the right reads, make sure we're there for him, available for him to check the ball down to us.
And what's been the biggest sort of, if you could give us some of the advice he's given you about playing with him or, being a receiver in this offense with him?
Just trust ourselves. We're smart players. We're all smart players. And just make sure we trust ourselves, trust our instinct, and be able to play fast because of it.
Okay, next up is going to be Greg Oman.
Hey, Dare, I just want to ask you about how even keel you are to be in a position where, Bucs drafted 2 running backs, they bring in Shady, and for you to continue, it seems like completely just business as usual. Just your confidence and how you built trust from the coaches and how that helps you.
That's just kind of been the way I've been, the story of my career. I've always been in a competition. That's the way I've just always been. I see everything as a competition. So them bringing in more running backs, that's just more people to compete with. But I mean, even before that, I had competition on my mind. So that's just the way I've always been.
Okay, our next question is going to come from James Palmer.
Dare, now that you've had a handful of practices with him and meetings with him, LeSean McCoy has been such a good pass catching back for so long. Is there any tricks that he has told you that have kind of popped out that have made him so good over the years that he's kind of taught you now that you're on the same field for some practices?
No, not really. He's a great running back, and he's made a lot of big plays in his career. And so just watching him play, watching him work, that's been the biggest thing I picked up from him. It's not really been any, conversation about stuff like that. It's just watching the way he attacks the game, watching what he brings to the table. That's what I've been able to kind of put in my own bag.
When you watch, do you go up to him afterwards if he does something that you are kind of curious about or whatever? Do you guys have that conversation after you see something since you're studying him in that sense?
Oh, absolutely. I do that with all the backs. So, there even I'll see some that a rookie would do, and I'll ask what he saw there. And I'm always trying to learn. So when I see Shady do something, I see Rojo do something, I'm always going to come up and ask what they saw, what made them do what they did.
All right, next up is going to be Mark Cook.
Hey, Dare, no secret that the defense struggled early in the season or until about the midway point last year, and then kind of got things better towards the end of the year. How much better is this defense today than, say, go back a year from now? What areas have they improved on, and how good can they be from an offensive perspective, seeing them in practice every day? How good can they be this year?
A defense can be great. They already are great. There's just a bunch of hungry players on that side of the ball, and they all know how to make plays. Obviously, last year is a new defense, new staff, so that was probably the reason for the slow start. But now that they got the comfort, now that they know the calls, now that they know what they're doing, know how each other is playing off of each other, they're a scary group. So I'm excited to see what they do, especially with the way that we're playing offense as well.
Okay, next is going to be Luke Easterling.
Dare, we talked to Bruce earlier this week, and he talked about the responsibilities of a running back on third down. And I think a lot of fans, maybe a lot of other people, think that the first thing that comes to mind is pass catching and receiving, especially with the way Brady uses the running backs in the passing game. But Bruce said that you guys are running backs, not wide receivers, and that first responsibility is obviously to protect the passer and to pick up blitzes. If you could just talk about what's so challenging about that role and why people maybe not realize why that's so important and maybe a priority over pass catching.
It's tough. It's definitely tough being in pass pro. Just a lot of things that happen fast. You're reading and reacting pretty quickly. But it's our job description. I'm not gonna sit here and say how hard it is, but no, it is difficult. But it's something that a lot of guys have succeeded at, and Brady's trusting us to get the job done. So we're going to.
Okay, next is going to be Taylor Jenkins.
Hey, Dare, as captain on special teams last year, you see a lot of these guys, and you see how young players often kind of find their niche on the team or are able to stick around through their work on special teams. Is there any young guys that you've seen come in and really stand out in one phase, whether that's the return game, whether that's working as a gunner? Any young guys that you've kind of seen come in and stand out in that fashion?
It's pretty hard to pinpoint anybody in particular. This whole rookie group, and obviously it's a unique situation, just not having an off season. So they all look hungry. They all look ready to play on special teams because they know a lot of them know that that's going to be their way of getting on the team, getting on the field. So I'm not. I don't know anybody in particular, but especially the linebacker room. There's a bunch of good special teamers in that room. So I'm excited to see how they grow, and then once we get more and more live periods, seeing how they run a hit.
Thank you.
Okay, next is going to be Luke Easterling.
Dari, without the preseason games this year, do you guys feel an added bit of pressure, especially in those live periods, to kind of treat those like your game opportunities and know that might be as close as you get to make an impact in a game situation before some hard decisions have to be made on the roster?
I wouldn't say pressure, but no, it's definitely a big opportunity for us to make plays. Tackling is a big part of football, and not being able to do that during camp is difficult. Difficult to evaluate and difficult for us to just be able to get into a rhythm, get into a flow of things heading into the season. So having the scrimmages, having the live periods is huge for us, and it's a big opportunity for us to not only show the coaches what we can do, making guys miss or playing fast and physical, but also for us the opportunity just to get ready. Get ready for what's about to come. And then once the season starts.
And then on the college football level, obviously there's a lot of, doubt and questions as to who's going to play, if anybody's going to play. How weird is it going to be this fall to not be able to watch Wisconsin football? And also, those players that are having really tough decisions about their own futures, if you had any advice to give to them about the decisions they have to make.
It's tough, man. And usually I have great advice, but this is kind of just such an unprecedented situation. I really don't know what to tell those guys, just besides staying positive and listening to the people that they trust around them. It's pretty unbelievable what the world is going through because of all this. But especially my young friends at Wisconsin that don't get to play this season, I feel bad for them, and I feel for them. And I know a lot of them are going to make the smart decisions, but no, it is going to be some tough conversation that these guys are going to have with their families.
All right, we have time for a couple more. Next is John Ledyard.
Hey, Dar, I want to ask you about Ronald Jones and what you've seen from him now with a couple years being with him. How have you seen Ronald Jones improve as a player, especially coming into this season?
He's looking good, man. He's always obviously been explosive, but now that he's getting his mentality where it needs to be and getting more and more comfortable. A second year with this staff, I feel like he's poised and ready to have a big season. I'm excited to watch him play. Excited to see how he's grown, and I'm excited for him. And that's my boy, and I look forward to seeing him make some plays this year.
Was pass protection, I know Luke asked about this too, but was pass protection kind of an area where you felt like the running back room as a whole needed to get better coming into this season? And Coach Arians has talked to us about it and said it's like the hardest thing for backs to learn when they come from college to the NFL. So was that a point of emphasis for y'all, and why is it so difficult to get it down?
We had a bunch of points of emphasis for the offseason. Pass pro obviously was one of them. And it's just an important part of football. It's an important part of keeping the pocket clean, keeping the quarterback feeling comfortable, being able to sit back there and just pick out who he wants to throw it to. So, of course, it's going to be a talking point. And but no, I feel that we've taken steps in the right direction, especially this offseason, especially this camp, and made some improvements in that area.
All right, our last question, we're going to go to Jenna Lane.
Dari, I know you got a chance to work out with Brady at Berkeley as well. What's it like being in the huddle with that guy, especially when he's on a roll? What is that feeling like?
It's great. You not only just from a football history standpoint, just what he's done, but also just having that comfort in the huddle, knowing that this guy knows exactly what he's doing, knows what he wants, and he's going to make the right decision with the ball and probably make a spectacular play too. It's pretty special being able to be in the huddle with him and get the call from him, and obviously that just kind of heightens our awareness just to make sure that we're making plays for Tom.
Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for taking the time, Dari.
No doubt.